Liberals' heads are exploding as Trump ups his trolls on Canada. Welcome to my channel, y'all. I hope you're having a great day. Well, Trump knows full well that there's no sitting government in Canada right now. He knows that Justin Trudeau has announced that he will resign after a leadership convention. So there's nobody actually sitting around any government tables doing any government business. And Trump smells blood in the water. He's very good at that. So he's up his troll game. And at a press conference at Mar-A-Lago yesterday, he was at it once again. Let's go see what he actually said.
President, if we were to work under the assumption that you're serious about making Canada 51st state of the United States, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada said, under no circumstances will it ever be the 51st state.
Maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't
point, you had suggested.
Listen, I don't care what he says.
But Sir Lopez, you said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada.
Now, I know a lot of Canadians would disagree with that, but he's not wrong. We don't have the military that we once had, and even if we did, even if we spent the 5%, because remember, it used to be 2% of our GDP that he was demanding, but now it's actually up to 5%. Even if we spent that 5% of our GDP on military, we're such a small nation that we would need help to protect ourselves. So just keep that in mind going forward with this. Now, it sounds like he's trying to be rational here, but he's doing it in a very Trump manner. He's making these very outlandish statements and he's also making some very logical statements, but you got to know how Trump negotiates. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's get back to the press conference.
But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope. No right.
So if you didn't catch that, the reporter asked if he thought the Americans or the United States had a right to Canada, like a right to annex Canada. And of course, Trump flat out said, no, we don't have a right to do that. So, liberals, stop having, getting your blood pressure up there. He's not going to invade us. Okay. But let's carry on with the press conference.
Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. But why are we supporting a country, $200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things. They should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. They send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. We got a lot of everything. And we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question. But I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit. And we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors.
And doesn't that just show how inept Justin Trudeau was? I mean, come on. You're going down to Mar-A-Lago to beg Trump not to put tariffs on. You're entering into a negotiation, whether you realize it or not. And maybe he didn't realize it, but he's going down there to negotiate with Donald Trump, and he doesn't even know the facts. He can't bring up any excuse why there is a trade deficit. There's other politicians in Canada who can very adequately explain that trade deficit. Pierre Poilievre for one, and Danielle Smith for another. But Trudeau can't, because he doesn't know the business that he's in. He doesn't know how to be prime minister. And after 9 years, he should.
But we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it.
So there is quite a bit to unpack there. First, he's acting like he doesn't know who Pierre Poilievre is. Now, it could possibly be the case that he doesn't. It could possibly be the case that he's not overly familiar with the Canadian political landscape at the moment, and that Pierre Poilievre will be the next prime minister. But it doesn't really matter. He's actually telling the reporters, well, that doesn't matter. He's going to put pressure on us economically to become the 51st state because they're subsidizing us. Now, first you have to accept that his numbers are correct. Now, just for argument's sake, let's say that his numbers are correct. I'm not saying they are, but for argument's sake, let's say that they are correct. Then he does have a point. If they are subsidizing us, they don't have a duty to do so. They only have a duty to the United States. But I do think he's still trolling us. Now, can they make all of the cars that they need themselves? And can they produce all of the oil they need and all of the energy? A lot of people don't think that they can. They need our water, they need our electricity, they need our oil. But it will be kind of interesting to see in the months and years to come whether they can change that, whether they can turn that around. I'm not sure that they can. But he's coming from a position of strength, and he's saying that he doesn't need all of these things in the United States. So he's putting us on our back heels. We're coming into the negotiations from a defensive point of view. And that's what he does. He's a master negotiator. So I think that these are still negotiation tactics. I think that he's trolling us for that purpose. Now, does he think that Canada would ever agree to become the 51st state? I don't think he truly believes that. Now, would he think that we would merge and become 51st to 60th states? I don't think he believes that either, because he knows the numbers. He wouldn't just be throwing this out there. He actually would have known the numbers that at the best time in history where people were considering merging with the United States, only about 24 to 25% of Canadians were ever for that. And usually that percentage sits down around 16%. In a current poll that Fox News brought up during a Kevin O'Leary interview, they said it was even 13%. Who knows? In Alberta, it's probably quite a bit higher. Maybe it's 24% in Alberta. I don't know. But the thing is, it will never get to 51%, or at least probably not in my lifetime. If he thinks that he can turn that around, hey, you know what? I invite you to try, but I don't think you're going to be able to do it. Maybe I can enter into a wager with him. Or would you be able to convince Canadians within the next 4 years that it's in their best interest to merge with the United States? Maybe I could make a lot of money on that wager, because I don't think he'd be able to do it. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to know what you think. Put your comments down below. And while you're at it, please like this video, share with your friends and on social media. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification so you never miss another video. Also, please join me on Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific time for my live stream, both on YouTube and on Rumble, where you're invited to join in on the conversation. Finally, if you reside on Vancouver Island and you want to get your firearms license, I teach the required courses. So if you're interested in taking a course from me, there are links in the show notes of this video to my website where you can sign up for one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.